And we'll now have public comments, and we'll start with, let's see, we have a total of, it looks like about 15 cards. I will limit public comments to 2 minutes each, so you have 2 minutes to speak. Starting with Giovanni Vassallo, who will be followed by Taring Dolkar.
Good afternoon. I'm Giovanni Vassallo. I'm the president of the Bay Area Friends of Tibet. And I am here to encourage the City Council, with all due respect to Vinnie Lee, not to raise the Chinese flag, because this Chinese flag is a divisive symbol. It is one whose under it enslaves an entire country, the 6 million people of Tibet, who are second-class citizens in their country, as well as now a minority in their own country. This Tibetan flag, that Chinese flag, was formed with occupation and colonization and resources extraction in mind. When it included Tibet as one of the 5 stars, without any consultation with Tibetans, without any input from them, who probably wouldn't want to be part of that discussion. Tibetans have a United Nations recognized right to determine their own future and to self-determination. However, the People's Republic of China has consistently refused to let the Tibetans exercise their religious or political aspirations. They have killed over 1.2 million Tibetans since they invaded Tibet in 1949 and throughout the 50s and beyond. Every decade, every year has seen Tibetans resisting this flag. Over 120 Tibetans have self-immolated and burned themselves alive because there's no other way to get the world's attention to this fact. And just like 10,000 people came to the streets or more of San Francisco to oppose the Olympic torch, it wasn't against the Beijing Olympic torch, it was the oppression and the tyranny that it represented. Not honor violence in China and Tibet or around the world by raising this flag.
Thank you for your comments. Tessing Dolkar, followed by Arlene Lum.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Taring Dolkar, and I'm representing San Francisco Regional Tibetan Youth Congress. I want to make it very personal because I'm 29 years old, and for 29 years, I didn't know where I belong. I don't have no country. I didn't have an identity, and finally, I've come to America, and I know that I'm an American, and I'm a Tibetan first. When I see this country, who has given me so much, honor a country which has taken everything from me and many other Tibetans living in exile and inside Tibet. I just can't take it. I think China does not deserve the honor for its flag to be raised in a country like America. It has happened before, like Mr. Lee has already mentioned before. It has happened in Oakland, it has happened in Houston, Texas, but I don't think San Francisco, another city of San Francisco, should do that. So I highly oppose. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Arlene Lum will be followed by Tenzin Sonam.
Thank you. My name is Arlene Lam, and I represent the Asian Community Cultural Association. I'm here to speak in favor of instituting a ceremony of raising the Republic of China flag on October 1st to show our appreciation of the large Chinese population in San Leandro. Before I do that, I would like to recognize the city's I would like to thank the city for recognizing the diversity in San Leandro by putting up the welcome flag up here, and I think that just went up in September. Since not every citizen can attend the city council meeting, I would like to suggest that we also participate in a Bay Area flag raising day. The gesture does not represent how we feel about the politics in China. It merely shows how much we welcome the Chinese population in San Leandro. For more Chinese to invest in San Leandro, to spend their money and to live here. Recently, I attended a meeting where City Council member Benny Lee and Chris Zapata met with a local business, a Chinese business owner. He personally told me several times how much he appreciated that attention that he got, that we wanted to come and welcome the Chinese business. He personally thanked me so much that he actually at the meeting, he brought in a number of investors to talk about other projects. Raising the Chinese flag on October 1st would further welcome and show our appreciation of Chinese investing in San Leandro. Thank you.
Thank you. And I was remiss in not reminding everyone, when you initially come to the microphone, please state your name and state what city you live in or your address. Tenzin Sonam, followed by Dan Dillman.
My name is Sonam Tenzin. Nothing against it. It's just what like the flag has, what the Chinese people has, like the Chinese government has done to our country, and I appreciate it if you guys don't put the flag. You know, like it's business. To them it's business, right? To us it's like, you know, human rights. They have values like human rights. And today it might be in San Francisco, and tomorrow it might be in Washington, D.C. Thank you.
Thank you. Dan Dillman, followed by Mike Katzlakopin.
Good evening, everyone. Dan Dillman. What I'd like to say is first and foremost that I am a believer of unity and love throughout the world. We are one people. We are one world. So with that said, I want to make sure it's, are we going to start raising the Cuban flag next? Are we also doing Iran, Iraq? Are we going to raise all the other flags? And when do we start honoring, do we honor all the murderers locally too? Let's get real here. Let's stand up for freedom. Let's show the world that San Leandro is not falling in line with everyone else. Let's show the world that we are standing united with love and peace. How about we raise a flag of the world? How about we put up the earth and say we love everyone, Chinese, Mexican, African American, and every other race you can think of, instead of this division with these flags. And as far as I know, when it comes to brothers and sisters of this world, humans, to all come together as one. And I don't think we should be having division, and we definitely should not honor hate and tyranny and death and fear. Let's honor love and respect and support each other. So let's find a way to do that. Thank you.
Mike Katz will be followed by Tenzin Rangdal.
Good evening. My name is Mike Katzlakopin, and I'm here to encourage you to vote against raising the Chinese flag. It is particularly appropriate that we have this discussion on the day of Mexican independence. And perhaps if there was an appropriate flag to fly above a city in the state of California, perhaps it'd be the Mexican flag from, or perhaps a Spanish flag for the countries that previously ruled this area. The reason I oppose raising the Chinese flag has to do with the fact that China abuses the human rights of its citizens, whether it's the oppression of the Uyghur minorities in the western part of China, to the oppression of artist Ai Weiwei, to suppression of freedom of speech, censorship on the internet and elsewhere. I do not believe that these are the values that we should espouse. If the importance of raising the flag has to do with business relationships with the Republic of China, People's Republic of China, then perhaps we should raise a flag that's more appropriate, either the dollar bill or perhaps the Chinese currency above City Hall. Thank you very much.
Tenzin Rangdal, followed by Tashi.
And freedom of religions and everything for all people. And this is not what's happening inside China. China has invaded Tibet in 1959. And since then, over 1.2 million Tibetans have lost their lives. And thousands of monasteries have destroyed during the Cultural Revolution. Now, since 2008, over 121 Tibetans, as young as 17 years old, have sacrificed their life. Not because of their money, calling for the Chinese government to provide more money, because they don't have any ways to express their grievances against the Chinese government policy. They don't have freedom of religion. They don't have freedom of movement. If they vote, even a mere having of His Holiness picture would lead you to the sentencing, even up to life imprisonment. There is cases of executions in Tibet, where innocent Tibetans were executed for no reason, just raising the voice for freedom. I have to be clear with all Chinese people who have attended here. We're not against Chinese people. We love Chinese as brothers and sisters. We are against the Chinese government who have suppressed Tibetans, not only Tibetans, also Chinese, for decades, more than 50 years. So we urge the City Council members to please oppose the motion to actually raise the Chinese flag proposed by Benny Lee.
Okay, Tashi Pujo, followed by...
Good evening. My name is Tashi Pujo, and I'm the president of the Tibetan Association of Northern California. At the outset, I wish to defer with what Council Member Benny Lee said. Having said that, as an American, I'm anguished and hang my head in shame at the very thought of the city of San Leandro wanting to hoist the Chinese national flag. When the entire world looks to America for democratic values, for human rights, for freedom, here we are, this city of San Leandro wanting to honor and embrace the dictatorial regime that is responsible for the death of 1.2 million Tibetans, for the destructions of thousands of places of worship, a nation that perpetually violates human rights. Isn't this contrary to the founding principles of this great nation? A slap on the faces of those who toiled so hard to give us democracy and freedom. By hoisting the Chinese flag, you would be endorsing this brutal regime. And you would be neglecting the calls of the Tibetans in Tibet and millions of Chinese who have been suffering for over many decades and continue to suffer even today. Since 2009, over 120 Tibetans have set themselves on fire, demanding human rights in Tibet. These are the monks, nuns, sons, like your sons and daughters, who are in their early teens, who set themselves on fire, just calling for basic human rights. These are the precious human lives. Do you really think it is worth flying this flag here on the American soil? I hope the elected officials of San Leandro will come to their senses and refrain from flying this Chinese flag that is stained with the blood of Tibetans, Uyghurs, and Chinese. We're not against the Chinese people. This is what I want to make clear. We're not against the Chinese people, but we're really against the Chinese dictatorial regime. We don't want to continue this trend towards oppression. You need not look far.
Thank you for your comments. And just one note, please do not come all the way up for videotaping. Please stay behind the wooden barrier. Okay. Next person is Samuel Zhang.
I thought I had 30 seconds more. I'm not done.
It did expire. The 30 seconds goes quickly.
Okay.
Sorry.
Good evening, the mayors and our council members. I am Samuel Zhang, owner of property in District 4. I'm here to oppose to raise the flag of People's Republic of China. The reason is that this flag does not represent any of the Chinese inside or outside China. This is only represent the totalitarian regime. The second thing I want to raise, second issue that I want to raise is that there is, at this very moment, still be blood from people under this regime coloring this flag at this very moment. And if you know, there is a reason actually at the moment a House Resolution 281 circulating in the House, I read the language, expressing the concern over persistence and creditable report of systematic state-sanctioned organ harvesting from non-consenting prisoners of conscience inside the Republic of China, including those from large number of Falun Gong practitioners in prison in their region, in prison for their religious belief, and member of those religious and ethnic minority group. I believe there is so many other ways to keep or attract business to the city. To raise the flag half-stack just to commemorate for all those being brutally killed inside China will be one of them. Thank you.
Mitch Heidemann, who will be followed by Margarita Lacabe.
Hi, I'm Mitch Heidemann. I don't understand why we would consider raising any government's flag, short of a specific reason why we felt that we needed to stand in solidarity with them, such as a terrorist act upon them or whatnot. Citizens, we do appreciate our citizens that are of Chinese ancestry, but also African, Mexican, Tibetan, Filipino, etc. Excuse me. Are we not as appreciative of those citizens? I think we are, and we should be. Raising the flag of another government and one with such a negative human rights history for the sake of attempting to increase business investment would be appalling. Thank you.
Being followed by Andy Hong.
Hello, I bring with me a petition by almost 300 people, including dozens of San Leandrons, that are asking you to not raise this flag. The flag of the People's Republic of China, according to its own government, represents the communist revolution in its red color, not the people, with a big yellow star representing the Communist Party. These four small stars represent the people that are united only through the Communist Party. October 1st is not the Day of Independence, as Benny Lee has said, but National Day. It's the day in which Mao Zedong's Red Army won the civil war in China and instituted the People's Republic of China, a communist totalitarian regime. In the years to come, 73 million people would be killed by the communist government. The scale of the murders has gone down, but the type of human rights violations continue. As we speak, there is a Nobel laureate, a Nobel Peace Laureate in prison because of his political opposition. There are journalists who are in prison because of speaking in favor of him being freed. There is a Tibetan filmmaker in prison because he dared to make a film where he interviewed Tibetans about what life under occupation is. And it's not just prison, it's torture, it's, as somebody else said, organ harvesting. It's all sorts of incredibly horrible human rights violations. Please, let's stand against them, not for them. Thank you.
Andy Hong, followed by Calla Mendoza.
On behalf of the Chinese community of San Leandro, I'd like to say we, as a Chinese in San Leandro, we try to be friends with all different community, and we try to get every other community together. And we want all our San Leandro community to be united. But we don't want to be spread apart. But tonight, I've seen that is individual, that is brought people from outside. I don't think they are in San Leandro. I don't think they live in San Leandro. They're from Albany, they're from other side. They come here to split our community apart. And I hope that you all consider Chinese community and Asian community is 1/3 of population in San Leandro. And they are the voter, and they are the taxpayer. And every time when election year, and I believe some of you, many of you, they come to me for your support, right? And I do support many of you. And this support, this vote is from Chinese community. These people, these voters are from China. They immigrate from China. And they live in San Leandro. They pay the tax here. And they vote for you. Therefore, you sit in all this here. I hope that you think about, don't split apart our community, right? And as you see, all this has my name on it, and I support to get all the vote for you people to get elected. And now I cast my community voice. They ask you to support the raising the Chinese flag.
Ooh, no way.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Hahn, you were interrupted. Do you wish to say anything else?
Yeah. I'll say
You have 30 more seconds.
from what the people is, all the voter that is behind me. And every time that is when the candidate is asked me for the support, and these are the people who live in San Leandro, they vote for you. This is what I got the vote. And these people is what I represented to ask you to support raising the flag. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Paula Mendoza?
Good evening, honorable council members. My name is Carl Mendoza. I'm a human rights activist, and I stand firmly against the resolution to hang the Chinese flag here in San Leandro City Hall. I stand in solidarity with the Tibetan and Chinese people against this exercise in the Chinese government's soft power here in this beautiful city. This flag represents oppression. This flag represents colonization. This flag represents imperialism. If we want better economic ties with Chinese businesses, why not invite those Chinese businesses to bring their branding and show them around here in San Leandro? Why must we hang the Chinese flag in front of City Hall? I've been inside China myself. I was part of a group of protesters who protested during the 2008 Beijing Olympics, and I saw with my own two eyes what it looked like inside China. The police state that was created. I saw with my own two eyes people who were taken down for doing nothing more than holding this flag. This forum that we're having here would not be possible inside China. This forum, this freedom of expression is not possible in that country. As a Filipino and as someone who has lots of family members here in San Leandro, I grew up here, I partied around here. Filipinos have also felt the long arm of China in our own country with regard to the Spratly Islands. When we saw the Chinese flag planted there, it reminded us that the Chinese government is an imperialist government. It is a totalitarian regime that does not respect human rights. Will we turn our backs on another indigenous peoples in the name of economic progress? Will we be on the side of human rights? I urge you, be on the side of human rights. Do not pass this resolution.